No, seriously, how would you like to have a specific method so you can boost your confidence every single time before killer competitions? And if you don't have one, why not? Well, either way, I'm here to help you out, so let's dive in. Now remember those moments when you feel jitters or you feel some kind of strong or strange feeling, maybe here in your stomach or maybe in your heart, and you feel it especially when you get closer to big moments or big competitions. And the closer you get to the competition, the stronger the feeling gets. You feel there's something missing, you feel there's something abnormal. That's not exactly how you feel when you are absolutely comfortable and you know you got everything under your belt. Sometimes you may call it lack of confidence, sometimes you may call it self-doubt, whatever you call it. What matters is you feel there's something missing and you want to remove it out of your way so you can focus and get the results you want to get, either on the pitch or off the pitch. And actually we'll talk some other times about how it applies off the pitch and how it applies in your personal life. For now, let's focus on the field, either in the court or in the pitch or in the track, wherever you are as an athlete. This is what we're going to talk about today, how to boost your confidence right before big moments, right before killer competitions. And in case you're wondering, I'm Saber. I'm a peak performance coach. I help athletes, executives, and organizations, coaches, and sports teams as well, how to exceed their goals and how to achieve their goals in 60 days or less. What we're going to talk about today is your confidence. And as you may know, confidence in the first place is not a matter of muscle alone. It's not a matter of exercise and physical activity and tactics and techniques. It's more of a mental game. I'm sure if you're an athlete and you've been an athlete for a while, or if you're a coach, and I'm sure you've been a coach for a while, you know that mental toughness or psychology in the sports or anything that people may call it in the field is a big game changer, especially in the recent years and for what's going to come next. So to focus on your confidence, to get your confidence boosted in no time, number one thing is to focus on your mental state. Where you are mentally about yourself, about the game, about the environment of the game, about your colleagues if you play in a team sport, everything around you and about the game, how is your state about it? Now, as we focus on the mental state, we're not going to give it just vague statement like that. No, actually, we're going to go through specific steps, and I will share with you 7 steps, 7 techniques, 7 tips, if you will, that will help you transform your game and transform your confidence and boost it. So number 1 is to have absolutely crystal clear goals. Now, when I talk about goals here, I'm not talking about the result of the game or the competition. I'm not talking if you're a soccer player that you're going to win 1-0 or 3-2 or 3-0 so you can pass to the next round. I'm not talking if you are a track runner that you're going to be first and you're going to hit the record, or if you're a swimmer you're going to hit the record. If you're a basketball player you're going to shoot 60 hoops. That's not what I'm talking about. Those are rigid goals. You are not the only factor in the equation to determine those results. Those are very specific outcomes that if you focus on them, they're more likely to kill your confidence than boost your confidence. And we will talk as more we get to know each other and the more you follow the video series that I present to you every week, we'll talk more in details about the energy of performance, what boosts it and what kills it. And in it, you will have confidence. In it, you will have everything that impacts your performance on the field and off the field. So the goals we're talking about as the step number 1 are performance goals. What do we mean by performance goals? Goals are connected to you, how you as a player or as an athlete can achieve those goals regardless of what happens on the field, regardless of how the weather reacts, regardless how your teammates react, regardless how the referee reacts, regardless of how the coach reacts. And for the coaches, you achieve your results regardless if the team plays the way they're supposed to play initially or not. What I mean here is we're not ignoring the fact that we are playing to win. We're not ignoring the fact that we're playing to score. We're not ignoring the fact that we're playing to hit or beat a record. No, that's a given. What I'm talking about is to determine the goals we're after. And if we focus on the outcomes as rigid outcomes, as the list I just shared with you, please know that you are not the only factor in the equation to determine that result. In every statement or in every situation, we have an event, we have a response, and we have an outcome. The event is going to happen regardless. The outcome depends on the response. Your response depends on who you are, your energy of performance, how your state is before the game or before the competition, during the competition, and even after the competition, because it will impact the following or the next game. So the goals here that we're talking about that we need to super clear on or need to be super clear about are your performance goals. Goals that help you achieve mastery. Goals that help you achieve wins regardless. You definitely know the moments where you are in the zone, either as an athlete or as a coach. When you're in the zone, you're not thinking about the result. You're thinking about your performance. You're thinking about how you do things. And when you get to the point of mastery, how you do things, results come. And you have experienced this and you have seen it. In other episodes also, or in other times, in other videos, we will talk about that zone moment or how to get in the zone on demand. For now, let's focus on that confidence. So number one is to have crystal clear goals. Performance goals, not rigid goals. Mastery goals, not outcome goals. Now, once you have those goals and you know what they are and they're clear to you, and by the way, if there are 10 goals, that's too much. For a big competition, you have specific goals. 3 is a good number. 1 is phenomenal, but 3 is a good number. You find yourself close to 4 or 5 goals, you're getting too distracted and you are getting too convoluted and it becomes too much of work and becomes a job. That's not what we focus on. So those goals, that 1, 2, 3 goals, how will you achieve them? What are the paths that will help you achieve your goals? You take each goal aside and determine all the paths that will lead you to achieve that goal. How long it's going to get you or how long it's going to take you to get there. Now, when I talk about paths, we want them to be clear and simple paths to the point that you know without thinking what you need to do. You need to know naturally how you're going to perform that action so you can achieve your goal. If you find yourself at a moment when you are going toward your goal and you have to stop and think too long about taking one action among the steps that you're going through, more likely that you're going to sit back and you're going to have doubt. When does doubt come in? When we have too much of conscious mind involved in the process. We want to do this with our unconscious mind. How do we do it with the unconscious mind? By training. And also we will talk about that extensively, as long as you stay, of course, in the videos and you ask me if there's anything that I don't talk about. Please ask me. I am here to help. I'm here to answer your questions. So number 2, so it was a number 1, that's your goal, is to have clear goals. Number 2 is to have all the possible paths that will lead you to every single goal of them. And every step of that path need to be so simple that you don't have to think about it to get there. Now let's take a quick example. If your goal is to play 70 minutes in a soccer game at a level where you do not accept any goal, for example, what are the possible ways to do that? You're going to fill the middle, for example, and you're going to play more of defense, and you maybe have a striker in the front so you can distract the team. And that is your goal. Your goal is to hold the ball, to be specific about what you do, to be comfortable in the field, and to hold the time as much as possible, because that's your goal. That's one of the ways, that's one of the paths to achieve your goal. So it becomes to you as an athlete, or it becomes to you as a soccer player, you know exactly your role is to calm down, take the ball, pass the ball, defend when you need to, and remain calm and do your part and help your team. And you as a coach, of course, this is your strategy. And you know exactly that when you are comfortable and when your goal is very clear, your path to your goal is very simple and absolutely achievable. This example could be run to or applied to track runners, to swimmers, to any athletic activity that you may have. And if you need a specific guidance for your specific sport, please ask me and I am happy to answer it. Now, this third step is very, very important. As I shared with you before, mental game, mental toughness, the psychology of your game is very, very important in your competition. I'm not here to tell you if it's less important or more important than the tactics and the techniques and the physical preparation. All what I'm saying, these are parts of the equation for your success. Your mental preparation is extremely important. Why? Because number 3, it touches on your belief about your goals and the paths that you're going to take. What does this mean? It means how much do you truly believe? And I'm going to ask you the question directly. And if you have a competition coming up, you can just take it and apply it directly. From 0 to 10, 0 being no belief at all, 10 extremely believable and you have confidence is going to happen. How much belief do you have about your ability to achieve your goal? And from 0 to 10, how much belief do you have that the paths that you put down to achieve your goals are actually actionable and they will take you to your goal? Why is this important? If your belief is not strong enough, you will always have a gap between where you are and where you want to be. That gap will cause the brain to be distracted and foggied. Focus will not be there. If you're not focused, you will have self-doubt. If you have self-doubt, you have lack of confidence. You have lack of confidence, that's how you feel the jitters, and that's how you get that bad feeling in the stomach and you feel there's something missing. You cannot see clearly what you're going to do. You cannot see clearly what you'd like to achieve. You just think that you need to get on the pitch, or you need to get in the field, or get in pool or on the track so you can do what you always practiced in your practice sessions. That's part of it. But if you are not super clear and if you're not believing 100% or as close as possible to 100% that you actually can achieve your goals, you will detract from your performance. Your energy of performance will take a dive and you will not be able to perform the way you would like to perform. Even physically, you will have a setback. Your muscles will not respond. Why? Because your brain is not firing up your muscles the way you would like for it to fire up. And I am certain that you have experienced at least once that you think of something you would like to do and your muscle is not responding. You want to catch the ball in a way, but your foot is not responding to you. You want to run this fast, but your legs are not getting you there. You want to swim this fast, but your arms are not getting you there. You want to kick in your taekwondo game this way, but your legs are not moving fast enough. I am certain that you have experienced this at least once. So that belief system in your goal and in the path of achieving those goals is extremely important to your performance, to your muscles, for your techniques to be applied, for your tactics to work, and for you to win that competition the way you want to win it. Now, once you know what areas are working in your belief and what areas are not working, you just adjust the areas that are not working. In other words, you know what your goal is or goals are, you know the paths that's going to take you to that goal, and you know which areas you believe, yes, you have them down, they're working, and which areas are kind of so-so, and which areas you don't have them really, just you would like to believe you have them, but you deep inside you know they're not there. That's where you focus on, the ones that are so-so and they're not there. Which ones need to be adjusted? Which ones matter a lot to your competition? And which ones you can actually rectify and get them working in the period of time that you have left into your competition. If you focus on everything, as you know, it is very difficult to get all of them done. It's not impossible, but it's very difficult and you may get distracted. So you look at those areas where you don't have strong belief about them and you figure out the ones that are more important to you, that they will give you more return on your investment of time and effort, and you adjust those. Once you have all the areas rectified and adjusted, now what you have so far is you have goals, you have path, you have your belief system is strengthened, and you have any areas that have not been strengthened or you had doubt about, they are adjusted and they are added to your strength of belief system. So you're good and you have a strong belief system in what you would like to accomplish and you know you're getting there. Now you see your goals. Now you see how they are going to be done. And this is step number 5. This is visualization, strong visualization. I am certain as well that you heard of it so much. The struggle and the trouble with visualization, especially in athletics, it's not well taught. It's not well addressed. People tell you to do a lot of good self-talk or positive self-talk, and they tell you to do visualization and to imagine yourself achieving your goals, but actually they do not tell you how. The problem is the steps that we talked about before step number 5 are the ones that lead you to step number 5 so you can do the visualization. As we talked about a minute ago, if you don't have the strong belief system, there is a gap between where you are and where you want to be. That gap will always be in your mind when you try to visualize you are in your goals. Your mind knows when things are not in place. Your mind knows when things are not correct. Your mind knows when you're trying to force yourself to believe something that you deep inside you know is not believable. Why? Because when you force yourself to believe something is going to happen and deep inside you know it's not happening, you are forcing yourself consciously. Deep inside is your unconscious. Your unconscious is, I take my responsibility to say this, more than 90% powerful than your conscious mind. Everything we do, almost, is with our unconscious. Why? Because we're creatures of habits. We do things on how we have been doing them all the time. The way you run, the way you swim, the way you dribble the ball, the way you take the ball with your chest, with your head, the way you coach your teams, the way you choose your tactics is heavily related to how you normally do things by habit. So that habit is a big part of your unconscious. Your unconscious leads almost everything you do. Your conscious is there sporadically to determine quick things that are happening at that time, and by the way, is not as quick as your unconscious because your habit is stronger than your decision making when you do it consciously. So when you take your conscious and you try to force your unconscious to believe something, there's a struggle. And the power that your unconscious has will always overcome your conscious mind. And that's the gap that we're talking about. So once you go through the first 4 steps, you come to the step number 5 to visualize your goals. It is easier for you to create that visualization. Why? Because you talked already about your goals. You made them clear and specific and focused, and you created the paths how you're going to get there, and you talked about every single step that's going to get you there to the point that when you look at the step that you're going to do, you don't think about it, you just get it going. Because now you talked about it, and your conscious mind talked to your unconscious mind about it. Your unconscious mind is more powerful and easier to believe that you are at your goal. Now you can see your goal, see yourself there, see you performing it, see yourself performing it. Don't look at yourself from the back as if you see yourself doing the thing. No, you are actually doing the thing. And I know this may be a little confusing. So let me give you an example. Let's say you are a track runner, okay? You don't see yourself running. You see the track in front of you when you're running, because that's how you live it. You don't live yourself from behind. Living yourself from behind is a different way of visualization, but it is not as powerful as when you see yourself actually doing it. So you are in the action, not watching yourself doing the action. Since you've done your goals, now you just know where your goal is. Just go to it and do what you need to do step by step so you can get there. It's my promise. You will get there, and your brain will believe it and will help you get there. Now we get to the moment of truth, the locker room. This is the few minutes or the couple hours before your competition, either your soccer game or your swimming competition or your running competition, whatever your sport is. In the locker room, focus on your goals. Now, at this time, it's very important to know that you are in a position where you're going to do what you told yourself to do, okay? You may do little adjustments for us as coaches, but for us as athletes, we will do what we have planned to do, and we will work with our coaches the way they told us to work. So this is the time to know that we have done our homework. This is time of execution. When it is time to execute, It is not time to go back and think again and have doubt. And no, it is time to execute. So in your locker room, go through the steps that will take you to your goal. And when you do that, you automatically doing the visualization again. Because when you go through the steps and you see yourself going to your goal, you are strengthening the neural circuits that take you to your goal. And when you get on the pitch, or you get on track, when you get on the court, you will find yourself a lot easier to apply and execute what you have always promised yourself to do. And the final step, step number 7. Believe that you have done everything possible that you could have done to achieve the results you promised yourself to do. Here's a very important principle that I teach my athletes all the time. And to tell the truth, I myself had to learn it the hard way. And it doesn't matter how many times they told me, it still did not apply until I actually gave it time and I executed it myself many, many, many times. And I grasped the idea of it. And when I repeat it now to my athletes, it takes little time for them to accept it. So let me make sure that I hammer this down, okay? You always make a decision based on the information that you have right now or at the moment of making a decision. Later on, even 5 minutes, you don't necessarily have the same information that you had earlier. So, when you made a decision, when you thought about your goals and you put the path to achieve your goals, you did all of that based on the information and the data you had at that time. You carried along all that to the moment where you are in the locker room, and it's about a few minutes before you go on the pitch or go to the court. Okay? Believe that you've done everything possible based on the data and the information you were given to achieve your goal. You are confident and you know that you are capable of doing it because you did the best you could do to achieve your optimum performance. And by the way, there's a little trick in the language here. When we say the best that I could have done or the best I can do, it is a connotation of, well, that's all what I could do. That's not it. It's not what I could do. No, there's a fine line between, well, that's all what I could do, and I actually did everything possible that was available to me, and I am confident that I can do whatever I can do with whatever I can have, because I cannot do things with things I don't have, right? So believe that you've done your work, right? Believe that you are going to achieve your goals the way you promised yourself, and believe that you are capable of achieving your optimum performance for the action you're going to perform the best way you can with the data you were given. No questions asked, no doubt, no reconsiderations. This is what I had, this is what I decided, this is what I'm going to execute, and I am going for it, and I'm going to get the best out of it. And please don't be surprised if you think that this may be too much, or you find yourself you want to go back and listen to a couple of points, or maybe the entire video. This is extremely normal and very possible. I do this all the time with my athletes, and we go over things again and again and again. The idea is not to understand it intellectually. The idea is to apply it. Everything that I tell you and everything that I tell my athletes or my executives or my sports coaches, it could be understood in 45 minutes, and I tell them this way in the beginning of our time together. But what I also tell them is not about understanding it intellectually. It's very normal to have that logic and accept it. You know it. It's not something new to you. The trick is to execute it, is to make it a behavior, is to make it a habit of yours. And you will hear me saying this over and over again in many other episodes or many other videos that you will hear me talking to you about. And I hope it doesn't get you bored. It's quite the opposite, is to strengthen the idea that it's about that behavior that will get you there. And it seems that confidence just kind of takes a break or goes away whenever we need it the most. This happens to all of us, as executives, as athletes, as coaches, as sports teams, as managers. This happens to all of us, and it happens to that or at that moment where we need it the most. It's normal to happen because we actually care, because we want to do the best we can. But what we'd like to do at this time is to know that the steps that I shared with you will actually help you to boost your confidence immediately or even a specific period of time before a killer competition. Regardless of how your confidence is, if you take these steps, you get there. If you have any questions about this video or any point of this video, please go ahead and ask, and I am happy to answer you either in the comments or in the private messages. Myself or one of my teammates will get me the message and I will answer you. Or if you have any other topic that you want me to talk about, or you have any topic that you want me to address with you, I am also happy to help you with it. I hope that you got the benefit that I would love for you to get from this episode. And until I see you next time, please remember to seize the moment, perform your best, and live consciously.